Ta-da! And back at you with another video, and welcome to another edition of Stop the Capping. I'm your host, Ahmad. Folks, we got some things we need to talk about. And today we're going to talk about the firing of NFL head coaching. As you know, the season for 2025 is coming to a close. We're down to like 8 teams left. So it's time to hit the fan. It's time for the nitty-gritty to happen. Things are about to happen, folks. That's correct. Things are about to happen. It's about to come to where, how they said, things about to hit the fan. But I want to talk about the firing of NFL coaches. And when is it justified to fire a head coach? Are all firing of head coaches justifiable? And should the record be the determining factor of a coach being terminated from his position in the NFL? Should a record of an NFL team determine whether or not a coaching is doing a good job? As you know, coaching in any profession, whether it's football, whether it's college, high school, so forth and so on, it is a team concept. Sure, you have one person in charge of everything, but it is done by a team. And in football, you have more than one coach coaching the players. You have more than one person responsible for the overall success of a team. And with football, you have the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, you have receiving coach, quarterbacking coach, linebacker coach, and so forth and so on. But the overall person in charge is the head coach. He's supposed to be the foundational glue that keeps everything together. So I understand if you want to terminate a person based on the buck stopping here. And I understand a lot of head coaching will assume that position. They don't want to see their offensive coordinator, defense coordinator get terminated or fired. And I understand that. But in some cases, when you hired to do a certain job at a company, and you don't perform well at that company, usually what happens, they'll bring you in and you'll have a sit down. And based on whether or not the company is part of a union or a non-union, determines how far the conversation will go. So if it's a union contract company that you're working for, usually you'll have a shop steward sitting down with the person or the supervisor in charge, and it's a meeting of the minds. In other words, that person will explain to you and to the shop steward what you're not doing and what you need to do moving forward to sustain this position, or that person will tell you why they think you should be terminated and so forth and so on. But you're still, you have representatives there why this is going on. And my thing is this: when players are dropping balls, fumbling, not running the routes that they're supposed to, doing stupid stuff like being off lines, causing turnovers, causing flags, causing penalties left, right, and center. There's so much a head coach can do when those things are being committed right then and there. When a person's offsides, there's a penalty that's going to be assessed live right then and right there. This is not a chance for the coach to pull you to the side and say, hey, you're not supposed to do this and do this and do this. Irregardless of what he's pulled you to the side to do, you're going to get penalized right then and there. That is live. That is a live penalty. You dropping passes right then and there. Those are live moments. And they can't come back. You can go back and pull that person to the side and tell them not to drop balls and so forth and so on. But that particular play right there is gone. It is gone forever. That drop pass is gone forever. It's like one and done. You may get another pass, but you won't get another pass, another second chance at that particular pass because it's done with. It's over. And my thing is this with the firing of head coaches. When does players become accountable for their actions and conduct? When do players get held accountable? We always want to fire the head coach, but when does the player get held accountable for their mistakes? You know what I'm saying? When does that happen? When does the player be held accountable for his mistakes? Left, right, and center, dropping passes, fumbling. When does the player be held responsible for his or her excuse me, I said hers, but when does a player get held for his failures while the game is going on? When does that person be held accountable for? We want to put blame on the coaches. We want to put blame on the offensive coordinator. And sometimes the offensive coordinator can be blamed for it. Excuse me one second, ladies and gentlemen. They can be blamed for certain things because they are the ones that are causing all the shenanigans. You know what I'm saying? If you are here making bad calls, making bad reads, such as the case with Colorado, I thought all along the offensive coordinator for the Colorado Buffaloes should have been terminated. I think Deion's loyalty to him was way overdue. When all them losses kept piling up left, right, and center, and Shadors was getting sacked, the most sacked of any NFL quarterback ever, I thought Deion should have pulled him a long time ago. I think Deion held on to him for too long. I think he should have been let go a long, long time ago. So my thing is this about loyalty. I understand we talk about loyalty all the time. Teams talk about loyalty. But when does loyalty end and responsibility and accountability take precedence? And some other things I didn't like that's going forward. I didn't like the way Shannon Sharpe came out and publicly said such and such a person needs to go. Mike Tomlin needs to go. He needs to move on, so forth and so on. Shannon Sharpe, I think you're the last person to tell somebody they need to go somewhere. You need to sit down and shut your butt up. You always running your mouth. After the debacle that you caused for yourself, you should be the last person giving advice to anybody. And I mean anybody. You need to sit your ass down and shut up. You should be the last person telling somebody what they should and should not do. You should be the last person on earth giving someone advice after the foolishness that you was involved in. You paying $20 million to cover up some nonsense. But you got your nerve to run your mouth because you got a platform. No. Just because you got a platform don't mean you get to run your mouth left, right, and center. Sometimes you need to sit down and mind your business. And that's word. Mike Tomlin has been an outstanding head coach. He keeps it raw. He keeps it real. He tells it how it is. He tells it like it is. He don't sugarcoat things. He brings it to just like it is. That's why he's there 19 years, because he keeps it 100. He don't sugarcoat nothing. He tells it like it is. And you trying to bring him down, talking about he needs to go. Yeah, eventually he end up leaving, but you should be the last person running your mouth, telling somebody where they should go and should not go. Shannon Sharpe, I didn't like that. I think sometimes you run your mouth a little bit too much. You too loose with your tongue. You need to shut your mouth. You always got something to say. You always got something to say. This person not doing that. That person not doing that. What are you doing? Like I said, you should be the last person on earth telling somebody what they not doing right and wrong. You should be the last person after that mess you done created for your own self. You should be the last person running your mouth telling somebody this, that, and the third. I don't care if you do got a talk show. I don't care if you do host this, that, and the third. Go do your interviews. But telling somebody else what they should be doing, left, right, and center with their life, you should be the last person giving advice. You need to sit down and shut your mouth, Shannon Sharpe. Point blank and period. You talk too damn much. Now, back to the story at hand about these head coaches. Now, some of these head coaches in the NFL should be terminated. They should be terminated. Not only should the head coach be terminated, but the offensive coordinator needs to go too. For example, Mike McDaniels of the Dolphins definitely should have been gone. The Giants should have been gone. Definitely needs to go, along with the coordinator. Titans definitely needs to go. Pete Carroll, who has won a Super Bowl, but he has lost touch with reality, definitely needs to be gone. Kevin Stefanski, with that foolishness with him and Shador that went on in Cleveland, definitely a debacle. Definitely a debacle of the highest order. That's just foolishness, left, right, and center. And now there's even word that Green Bay fired their head coach. Now I can't confirm or deny that just yet, but I don't think he should be fired. I think Green Bay issue was players' accountability. Players dropping passes, players not being where they're supposed to. Sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, players need to be held to a higher standard. Some of these players walk around here with $200 million guaranteed money contracts and out here doing bullshit. Just out here stinking up the field, left, right, and center. Let's fire their asses. When we gonna start seeing some players fired? You and I can get terminated out of our job if we don't perform to standard. We can be let go. We can be terminated. How come these players can't be terminated? Because they're under contract? The hell with that. I think you drop too many passes, you should be terminated. You fumbling too many balls, yeah, you should be you should lose money. I'm guaranteeing you $230 million, but in return, what am I getting from my guarantee? What is the owner getting from his guarantee from these players when you're giving them all this money and they can't do a simple thing as to catch a football? $150, $160 million guarantee, and you can't throw a football. You can't connect to players on the field. You getting sacked 6, 7, 8, 9 times. You just standing there letting somebody sack you instead of getting out that pocket and scrambling and making something happen. You just sitting there getting yourself fumbled all up, smacked around left, right, and center. That's stupidity to me. When are we going to start holding players accountable for some of the shenanigans that's going on in football? That's what I want to see. When are we going to start firing some damn players? Yeah, I understand the coach is responsible for the overall performance of the team, but when are we going to start holding these players accountable for the contract that they signed and the money that they get? They walk around here 200, 300, 400,000, 400 million. 200 guarantee, and they can't catch a damn football. Can't catch a damn football. Dropping passes left, right, and center, right in your hand, and you can't catch it. I've seen so many drop footballs this year from players. It don't make sense. Some of these players done played 3 years, 4 years of college football. 13, 14 games per year, and you get to the top echelon of the football chain, and you still dropping passes. You still fumbling. Not just 1, 2, 3, 4 games. You got fumbles out of 17 game series. You done dropped 6, 7, 8, 9 passes in a 17 game season. But 9 passes you done dropped. That don't make sense. You done fumbled 6, 7 times out of 17 games. You done blown coverage, offside, penalties, left, right, and center. When is the NFL gonna start making these players be held accountable? When the owners gonna start making these players become held accountable for the contracts that they sign? That's what I want to see. The hell with that collective bargaining agreement bull crap. You want all this money, you want all this left, right, fourth, and the center, but you can get out here and you can't even catch a damn football. Something you've been doing since you was in Pee-wee football, Pop Warner football, and you still out here today as a grown-ass man and you dropping passes. And a lot of time, some of these offensive coordinators should be fired, relieved of duty. How you go week in, week out, losing? Ain't no way in the world I'm going to be a head coach, going to have jeopardize my position, my livelihood, because you out here sending in these bum China looking plays. They ain't amount to jack. We keep constantly week in, week out getting our butts whooped with these bullshit ass plays you sending in on the field. No. To me, that's when head coaches should be fired. Because you see this going on. If I'm a fan and I see it going on, why you can't see it as a responsible person in the position of a head coach? Why you can't see this not working? Week in and week out, constant failure. And you're not addressing it? No, there's no way in the world I'm going to be the coach of a team, and I see my offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator bringing me bullshit every single weekend and week out. We losing games left, right, and center. And I'm not addressing the situation. Like, if you start bringing in better plays, or I'm going to take over. Because it's foolishness. I'm not going to sit by and just let my team keep losing for bad play calling by my offensive coordinator. Either he gets it together or I'm trying to terminate it. Bro, you got to go. This shit you bring to the table is not working for the team. And that's what is a lot of the issue here with a lot of these coaches being fired right now. Is the offensive coordinator for these teams not being held accountable for what they bring out on the field. The play calling that they bringing out on the field week in and week out is trash. The whole team needs to go. You got 4 or 5 men up in that boot, and this and some of the trash that they have put out on the field. This shit didn't even like it work in high school. Wouldn't even work in high school. And this what you bringing? This what you making people pay top dollars to see? We sitting at home paying $10, $11, $12 a month for these various sports channels to watch you guys play, and this the crap that y'all giving us? I'm paying buku dollars to watch you put this shit on the field. That's stupidity of the highest order. And we week in and week out, we pay our little money, we go there, we bring all these friends and families over, pay all this food and stuff, and then what we get in return is trash. We the fans pay all this money, whether we at home or at the game, because we still paying. Ain't no more free football. You got to have ESPN, Netflix, somebody to watch an NFL game now. The day of the free, that's over with. But yeah, week in and week out, this is what the trash that some of these NFL teams are bringing to us. This is the product that they putting out for us to watch. Yeah, some of y'all need to be terminated. Like I said, Jim Harbaugh, I don't think he should have been terminated and fired. I think if I had Lamar not got hurt, they would have had a better season, a better record. The Giants, definitely, he needed to go. That 4-12, 3-12, yeah, that whole, not only the head coach needed to go, I would have fired the whole coordinating team too. I would have fired my offensive coordinating team before I fired my coach. It's time for you to get a new group of men in to bring about a change for the offensive coordination part of the team. I don't think I would have fired my head coach. I think I would have gave them, especially if I got new quarterbacks, new players in, new rookies in the team, I would have got rid of that offensive line head coach. You got to go. And I think a lot of these teams, that's what's hurting them, is their offensive line. The play caller. I don't think it's so much the head coach. Yeah, he was responsible. Therefore, maybe he should be doing some firing. When they start becoming 3-4, 4-4, 4-0-4, 0-5, yeah. Me as a head coach, I'm getting rid of you. Somebody getting demoted. Because I'm not losing my job because of your inability to bring in plays, sound plays that can work. Now, is it the coaching? Is it the head coaching responsibility to make sure these players are prepared and ready? Or if it's his responsibility, then why he need all these other coaches then? Don't have them there. Because at the end of the day, if they're not producing, you're going to get fired. So why need all these paying all these people all this money at the end of the day if no performance is being done? I'm going to lose my job. I gave you a job. You're going to still have a job, but I'm fired. No, that's not going to happen with me. I'm not going to sit by and let another man take crumbs off my table. Pete Carroll should have got rid of his whole offensive coordinating team. When you losing 3 games in a row and you getting blowed out, your defensive coordinating team getting blowed out, it's time to have a meeting of the minds. Like, folks, if we don't start making changes here, I'm moving furniture. Some of you guys ain't going to be here. That's point blank, period. I'm about to fire some asses. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to just sit by and let the team go 0-4, 0-5, 0-6, 0-7, week in, week out. You got people paying top dollars to come to the stadium. You got people paying $15, $16, $17 per app to watch all your stuff at home. And then this is the product that you're putting out on the field. Hell to the no. If I'm a head coach, I'm calling in my offensive and defensive coordinator. Like, if you guys don't get it together, you're not going to be here. I'm going to have a whole new team here. And all these... Now, Mike Tomlin, he resigned. But Shannon Sharpe wanted him out. Shannon Sharpe going to put on his podcast, it's time for him to go. That's what I didn't like. I didn't like somebody on the sideline. I don't care how long he played in the NFL. I didn't like the way he went at Mike Tomlin, talking about he needs to go. I didn't like that from Shannon Sharpe. Especially some of the shit that you have done with your own self. I felt, and I still feel, that you're in no position to point fingers at anyone. especially when you paid $20 million to keep your finger from being shown what you did. You out here paying $20 million to cover up your mistakes, but yet you want to highlight and point fingers and shine a light on somebody else's downfall. I didn't like that. And Shannon Sharpe, you need to sit your ass down and shut up. Yo, yes, I'm hot. You are the last person need to be pointing your fingers at anyone, telling them what they should and should not do. You the last person. I don't care how long you played in the NFL. Your hand all caught in the cookie jar. You should be humbling yourself, keeping your mouth shut. But no, you paid your $20 million and now your mistakes is all covered up now. Now you want to run your mouth and point and shine a light on other people's mistakes. I don't like that. And once again, it's always a black man got to run his mouth and point out another black man's mistake. When you got your own dirt in your own closet that you trying to hide, that you paid $20 million to keep hidden. Make that make sense, Negro. Foolishness of the highest order. I didn't like that. But yeah, these names, the Cardinals, the Falcons, Cleveland, Raiders, Titans, Giants, Dolphins, Ravens, yeah. Your whole team, that whole coaching staff needs to go. The head coach, offensive and defensive, the whole shebang needs to go. All them teams need to get new offensive coordinator, all new defensive head coordinators, and head coaches. Jim Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin, I don't think those two should have had left. I don't think Jim Harbaugh should have got fired. You want to fire the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, fine. But I wouldn't have got rid of Jim Harbaugh. I think he's still a good coach. I just think there's some circumstances maybe that was out of his control. I think there's some circumstances in the Baltimore Ravens organization that were out of Jim Harbaugh's control. Just like Tom Coughlin, I think there's some things he tried to do, but at the end, some things were out of his control. You know, if the quarterbacks and the players are not making the plays, what do you do at that moment? What do you do at that moment? All these teams have practices. All these teams have film video, film watching, film study. Every team in the NFL has it. But yet not everyone can produce when it comes to going to the field. It's like taking what you learned in the classroom and bringing it to the field. It is obvious that 8 of these teams could not do it. They could not get their players to generate what was being taught in the classrooms, in that building, and then bring it to the field. They couldn't bring it to the field. They couldn't bring that training to the field. They couldn't bring that preparation to the field. Drop passes, overthrows, interceptions, sacks, piss poor defense, piss poor offensive defense. Your quarterback getting sacked 6-7 times per game. Interception 2 and 3 per game. You can't be no winning program having this going on in your organization, ladies and gentlemen. It's not going to pan out. It's not going to happen. But I also like to see some of these players being held more accountable for the things that they're doing. Like I said, I've seen a lot of drop passes this year. Point blank and period, right in your hand, and you drop it. And nobody says nothing about these drop passes, these fumbles, but everything is the head coach. Everything, every issue is the head coach, the head coach, the head coach. When are players going to be held accountable for their shenanigans, their foolishness, their mistakes? their attention to detail, their preparation prior to the game. Let's throw the coach under, but the coach got to sit around here and cover for all these players. Hell no. I'm exposing your ass. You don't watch film. You don't give everything in practice. You're late. You're so forth and so on. I'm exposing you. You finished in a 17-game series, 4-13, 3-14. You mean tell me 17 games you couldn't correct a deficient in your organization, both offensively and defensively? You got 17 tries to get it right, and 14 of them you failed. That's what a 3-14, a 4-13 record means to me. A 2-15 record, that's what it means to me. No one in here is trying to achieve anything. No one's trying to achieve jack. Just a bunch of grown-ass men collecting paychecks. Where's the accountability? Where is the accountability in that at? That's what I want to know. Where's the accountability? Who's been accountable for that? Let's make that make sense. Who's being held accountable for these type of shenanigans? It makes no sense, ladies and gentlemen. None whatsoever. And this keep going on like it is, left, right, and center. Doesn't make sense. Players need to be held accountable for some of these shenanigans that's going on in the NFL. They need to be held accountable for it. You ain't in college no more. You ain't in high school no more. You're grown as paid professional. Some of you walk around here with guaranteed contract money, and you doing the things that you're doing on field. That's stupidity of the highest order. And someone besides the head coach needs to be held accountable for these type of shenanigans. So let me know what you think in your comment section down below. Do you think some of the players should be terminated? Should the players be fired? Should some of the offensive and defensive coordinators be fired also with the head coach? So thank you for this edition of Stop the Cap, and I'm your host, Ahmad. This is NFL coaching, firing. 8 NFL coaches have been fired this year. This has got to be a record number this has got to be a record firing of head coaches in one season, with 8 head coaches being terminated and 1 resigning on his own. Let me know what you think and feel about termination of head coaches. Do you think players should be terminated for some of the shenanigans that they do? Let me know your comments, your thoughts, how you feel in the comment section. All right? Until then, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye. Peace. I'm out of here. Y'all stop the capping. Y'all stop lying to yourselves. Some of you players, y'all need to be terminated. And with that being said, goodbye.